the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast, Season 4. Let's go, baby. Yeah. There was a time I had trouble talking about it. Congratulate them, we know they doubted. Somehow we made it up out the pit, back against the wall. Never quit, traversing through each obstacle. Show a non-believer what's possible. Let nothing they could do stand in between me and my wildest dreams. Let's go. And that come at us could come in between. Life gave me the worst, yet my side grew so green. We've been down in the dirt, been tossed in the trash, but I never strayed from my path. When we're gone, we ain't looking back.
Maybe we were all way too high. Maybe that's our fault.
It's going to be a crazy time, but it's going to be a fun time.
Life is boring if you don't take some chances and do some things outside the box.
Your destination for both some feel-good lifestyle advice and some fantasy football advice. All right. Welcome in, everyone. This is the pilot episode of Season 4 of the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast. Welcome in to everyone returning from last season. Welcome in to new listeners as well. If you happen to stumble upon this podcast, this live stream on YouTube, it might be your lucky day, guys, because we here at In Between Media, we do things a little bit differently. We like to combine feel-good lifestyle advice with our fantasy sports analysis. So if that sounds like something you're into, you want to win some championships here in 2022, and you just want to feel better, you want to live better, and just overall a better experience here in 2022, we're your guys here at In Between Media. I'm Seth Woolcock, the founder of the company, joined by my co-host here, Nate Pulvo, holding it down out there in Denver, Colorado, and Scott Reinier, always sleepless in Seattle. Two kids keeping him up all night, baby. Guys, how are you feeling? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling energetic. I'm feeling like the kid who just got home from that midnight release of Call of Duty. I want to pop in that game. I want to get on that restart and hit the refresh for Season 4 of the podcast and for the 2022 NFL season. Nate, you look a little jet lagged, my friend.
I'm sleep lagged. It was only an hour and 15-minute flight back. It's just a long day going from pouring rain to it was like 5 degrees when we landed. So, but I'm ready to be here, man. I'm stoked for the new season. Glad to be here. Wouldn't have missed it for the world. Obviously, I'm here. I've only been home for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So let's go.
Yeah, I'm very excited because this will only be my second off season where I'm like fully focused on fantasy the whole off season.
Yes, sir.
I didn't think it was a thing before when I was just more of a casual player. So the fact that I can just dig into data all off season, I'm very excited.
Guys, we got some people in the chat here. We got Brad. Happy to see you.
Brad.
What's up, Brad? Hope you're having a good night, Brad, out there in Australia. We got our guy, Nick Gardner. What's up, fellas? Nick, another Colorado native as well. Guys, if you want to interact with us, we love chatting with you. Head over to our YouTube page. You can interact with us. We'll pull up your comments. We'll answer your questions, anything you got for us here. On tonight's episode, we are jam-packed. We got Steele Henderson as well. Oh, we got Seth, my baby daddy. All right. All right. Here we go, Steele. There we go. On tonight's episode, guys, we have front and center. We're going to give you our thoughts on the Super Bowl, QB cryptics, what's going on with A-Rod, and that whole situation. Kyler Murray, he's being a little toxic on socials as well. What does it mean for your fantasy football season, though? We're going to tell you that. We're going to introduce a new segment, Ring of Fire, and we're going to talk 2022 starting philosophies. The fantasy football landscape changed a lot last season. We're going to tell you what it means moving forward. And then we're going to talk about goals. We're going to round out weekly advice as we always do, bring a little feel good back to the show, talk about what goals mean, what setting goals can help you achieve in this new year. And we're going to tell you what our 2022 goals are for fantasy football as well. Guys, before we jump into that, we have a lot of new listeners out there, it looks like tonight on the interweb, maybe listening for the first time on the audio version, comes out tomorrow. What can we say to entice these people to hang around with In Between Media, chill with us all season?
Well, we're fun. If you watch us on YouTube, we're pretty. I mean, I'm growing a beard just for the people. Jen hates it, but I also hate shaving this time of year. So we're insightful too.
I think I think it's, like whether or not you want to just stay completely ingrained in fantasy football and statistics and all that all off season. You can add in between media, but we also, we cover a lot of life stuff. We talk about a lot of our own experiences, personal stories. There's a lot more to it. And then also there's, fantasy golf, fantasy NASCAR, fantasy fighting with the fists and stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot more to do than just fantasy football and just, just ranking players or just, the statistics and the look ahead. So there's a lot we offer.
Yeah, I know from Nate, he's going to give us some Mac Jones ass kissing over the offseason.
You don't know that yet.
Hey, we might see it once again. You're going to have some Bush Light promotions from me, some shameless ones of that matter, and even some lukewarm Leonard Fournette takes. You guys know how I am with Leonard Fournette. So that's what we have to offer here for you this season. Before we jump into front and center, I do just want to give a quick shout out to a couple people behind the scenes. First of all, I want to shout out our In-Between Media family. That's our community over there at patreon.com/IBT_media. And those are our people we're interacting with on Discord, through our Facebook group. You can get one-on-one advice from us, our analysts, one-on-one fantasy sessions if you want as well. So shout out to those people for always being active here in the chat. Also want to give a huge, huge shout out to our guy, Nate Miller at Ism. He is the artist who puts all the music together for us here at In Between Media. Super talented. Find him on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your music. He's also anti-brand name on Instagram, so check him out. And then Third and Short, man. Third and Short, he is the soul of this team. He puts in the man hours throughout the night on the graphics, the videos, everything you see here at IBT. So thank you, Third and Short. And how about our audio editor, Kyle, producer extraordinaire? He's in the back end tonight. You're going to see him a little bit later on Ring of Fire as well. But shout out to everyone here In Between Media who makes us go.
Damn straight.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. There's so much hard work that gets put into all this.
Yes, absolutely. And you're going to see it right now with our next segment, Front and Center, baby.
Sometimes taking that first step out the door is the hardest thing to do. Give it a chance, you'll be begging for more. Save the spot just for you. We're all somewhere in between. How about you come to the place where you have some fun? Ain't gotta worry about knowing not what it means. Come and give me another, cause the night is young. At least I so thought.
This just in. Breaking news. Front and center.
All right. We don't want to bury the lead here, guys. Last time we talked, it was prior to Super Bowl. And it seems like, it was all going well for our guy, Joe Burrow and the Bengals. He ultimately fell to the Rams in SoFi, 23-20, back in early February. Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, they get their first coveted Lombardi trophy. And Cooper Kupp, man, takes home the MVP. He was the fantasy MVP in 2021. He was the Super Bowl MVP as well. 8 receptions, 92 yards, 2 tutties for a guy, Cooper Kupp. # never fade Cooper Kupp. Nate knows. He's on the DFS show.
You never fade Cooper Kupp.
And then Joe Burrow, man, such a Cinderella season for him and the Bengals. It comes to an end. Aaron Donald sacks him. Jamar Chase was breaking one deep for possibly a game-winning touchdown. Guys, what are your overall fantasy implications, takeaways from this game, if any at all?
Well, if Cincinnati actually gets an offensive lineman in this draft, which I still don't think they should have gotten Penei Sewell, they needed Jamar Chase. Without Jamar Chase, they don't make it to the Super Bowl. Now they need to get an offensive lineman or two, however they do it. I think Burrow's probably a top 5 quarterback in fantasy next season. I just don't see this offense slowing down. And Cooper Kupp, I think he has to be the overall wide receiver 1.
Oh, yeah.
Heading into, there's no question. He's the first guy off the board.
Right now, Fantasy Pros has him ranked as the 5th player overall for 2022 in PPR League. So definitely very enticing there. Scott, there's obviously a lot of unknown in the Rams passing offense moving forward. Robert Woods, torn ACL, OBJ, torn ACL in the Super Bowl. So we're not really sure If they are not to bring back OBJ, maybe not sign anyone of super note, are you comfortable taking Cooper Kupp up towards that 105 pick?
I would be, yeah. I mean, he showed me enough. Him and Stafford's connection seems to be unstoppable. I mean, you saw it in the Super Bowl. Like, as that game winded along,
last drive, yeah,
everybody knew they were throwing to Cooper Kupp. Everybody knew, and they still couldn't stop it. So, I mean, that's, it's you hear the terms like matchup proof. He's ultimately matchup proof, and he showed it during the season too. I mean, he didn't have a lot of variance and wide ranging peaks and valleys in his scoring. I mean, he was a wide receiver 88% of the weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely taking him as the first receiver. Whether or not I take him as high as 5th overall, that would just kind of depend on how things played out. But I wouldn't have any problem taking him there.
I take him. Look, he was overall PPR number 1.
Yeah.
Number 1
as a wide receiver, number 1 player.
Position.
Yeah, number 1
out of any position, over quarterback, wide receiver, doesn't matter.
Insane.
I mean, he had multiple 30-point games. How many quarterbacks had multiple 30-point games?
Yeah.
His lowest output for the entire season was 11 points. That was his off game because he didn't score a touchdown. That's more upside than Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey if he's healthy.
I think also too, at the end of the day, the stack's available if you want it. QB9 right now for Stafford in the Fantasy Pros ECR. So I think you can get Matthew Stafford at a discount as well. So a lot to talk about there. OBJ, obviously kind of a sad injury for him. Probably looking to move him if you have him in Dynasty, if you can get something for him. Like, I don't know. I just don't know if I can wait around for 2023 to hit for OBJ to have value again.
That was so brutal.
I mean, yeah.
Like, I kind of came around on OBJ a little bit. I kind of fell into the whole, he's a diva, blah, blah, blah. But like, I was kind of rooting for him. And then to see him get hurt in that spot, it's brutal. But I mean, yeah, his 2022 is in jeopardy. The pass catching group could look different. Tyler Higbee could potentially be a cap casualty. They could save some money against the cap with
his
cap.
Sir. Kendall Blanton, baby.
Yeah, so I mean, he could be a casualty, and I mean, they've got Van Jefferson who showed flashes, and they've got Josh Palmer, who I still believe in. Oh wait, is that the right team?
Tutu Atwell.
Tutu Atwell. Sorry, wrong team. I don't really believe in Tutu Atwell as much.
Yeah.
If we were talking about the Chargers, then we'd be talking about Palmer. Anyway, but yeah, as far as what to do with OBJ in Dynasty, I mean, I don't know what you could really move him for at this point.
Yeah,
that's what I would be trying to do.
What about Joe Mixon too? I think he's going to get fed here in the upcoming season. Was not in on the 3rd and 4th down that ends up losing them the game. Samaje Perine had a chance at that 4th down or that 3rd down ball. So overall disappointing. But we'll see what happens here with the Bengals and the Rams in the new year. Super thankful for them to just have this awesome season in 2021. It was really fun to cover it, man, wasn't it, Scott?
It was great. I mean, it was exciting. You really never knew what was coming next this season. There was a lot more. There was just kind of a lot of different strategy forced upon us as fantasy managers.
Yeah.
Based on COVID and injuries and buys and just So, it's almost like, if a season comes along, maybe next season, maybe if COVID isn't as much of an issue, it'll be kind of bizarre to not have as many crazy decisions to make every single week. But it was really fun.
Yes. Guys, let's go ahead and move forward. I want to talk about QB cryptics because we've been getting a lot of cryptic signals once again from these NFL QBs heading into the new league year. Let's start with Aaron Rodgers, guys. I mean, the drama hasn't really ended for a long time. Basically, he released a series of images on Instagram earlier this week, just like some very thoughtful, reflective thoughts. People kind of went crazy with it. Is Aaron Rodgers retiring? Is he going to request a trade from the Packers? I was in the camp that I was just standing by. I guess he just got out of some like a couple week long meditation or something along the lines of that. He was telling Pat McAfee. But, I'm just standing by the fact that, like, this dude just went through a breakup. Like, he just went through a really disappointing end to a great NFL MVP season. So I think he's human. I think we need to cut Aaron Rodgers slack. I think he's back in Green Bay. We can wash our hands of this. Nate, you're our resident Broncos fan, man. Do you think any differently? Maybe he ends up out there in Denver, Tampa Bay?
I don't know, man. I thought it was funny though with this Instagram post. There's a local radio guy that occasionally I'll go back and forth with on Twitter, and he's like, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers, he's going to retire. He's going to retire." It's like, dude, come on. Like, it's an Instagram post. Doesn't mean anything. We went back and forth about it, and what did I say? It didn't mean anything. The dude was in his emotions and feels over a breakup with a girl. He had just done some weird 12-day cleanse. He probably wasn't in his right mind. Throws out this post, and he's probably just going to play for the Packers again. So,
yeah.
I mean, it makes me like, I'm kind of glad that back in my earlier younger days, because I don't drink anymore or any of that stuff, but like back in my younger days because his post to me came across as potentially, he got a little tipsy and then went on the gram and emptied some thoughts out. And like, I'm so glad Instagram and all the social media was not around when I was in that spot. There would be so many receipts out there right now for me. It would just be ridiculous. Anyway, I agree. I don't think this means this means he's definitely staying in Green Bay, but it certainly doesn't mean because he posted a picture of Randall Cobb and Devontae Adams and he wasn't there, everybody's like, oh, it's like, no, I mean, the guy likes attention. We know that. I'm not going to necessarily knock him making an Instagram post, but people are reading way too much into this stuff.
Yeah. Well, he didn't help it by like making that like quick surprise appearance on the Pat McAfee show the next day.
I don't think it's a surprise. Though. I mean, he's been close with Pat McAfee throughout the season.
But given everything that had been said, because the Instagram post would be like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm jumping on Pat McAfee today.
All right,
everybody went nuts.
We will leave the Aaron Rodgers discussion for another day. I think realistically, I think as far as actionable advice, he's still QB1 in your drafts wherever he's going. Devontae Adams, still likely. I think he's going to get the franchise tag here in Green Bay. We'll see what happens there. I think he's back with the team. Stay tuned for that. What about Kyler Murray, guys? And I don't want to get too far into the cryptic message from him clearing his social media of the Cardinals. We're hearing reports that he's not a good teammate. He spends a lot of time FaceTiming his girlfriend and, kind of disconnecting from the team a little bit. Are you guys drafting Kyler Murray in 2022? That's what I need to know, because I'm a hard no. And it's not just because what we've seen lately out of Kyler Murray. I'll go into a little more of the data dive I did on him recently. But he is right now the QB3 on Fantasy Pros. So you're paying a pretty hefty price for him. Scott, are you comfortable with that?
No, I mean, I'm kind of flipping from last year. Last year I considered having him as the QB1 last year, but I'm not going as high as QB3.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I'm not fading him to the back end of the first round either. I mean, he was still, I think, in points per game, like QB 4 or 5 this year. So, he wasn't a complete bust, but as far as the, top 3 level, I'm probably taking somebody else there. I'm taking a Herbert, I'm taking a Josh Allen. I mean, I'm probably even taking, I'm going to be back on the Lamar Jackson train. I'm not going to steer too clear of that train. I'll probably take him over Kyler.
And you could take most of those guys cheaper than Kyler Murray.
That's what I mean. So, like you've got Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Herbert kind of up in that spot. So I would certainly take those 3 over him. So if that ADP holds, I think it's probably going to slide a bit over the summer. But if that ADP, and again, I'm talking redraft, if it holds, I'm passing. I'm waiting on QB.
I'm with you. That's too much. It's too high. I'm probably in redraft. I probably want almost nothing to do with them this year. I'd rather wait. And we'll get into this later, but I'd rather wait and get some more of the high value Cooper Kupps, Jonathan Taylors, Austin Eckler's. I'm not reaching for Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
I'm just not doing it.
I think he's off my board.
Yep.
But before we kind of round it out here, I just want to say in a column recently, I did a study on Kyler Murray, because what we've been hearing is there's a drop-off in efficiency for him in production in the later half of the season. So I looked back at his numbers, but the last 2 seasons, before and after week 12, this year we saw a 3.9 PPR point per game difference from week 12 on afterwards. So he was down 3.9 points. 2020 was the really scary one, though. He had a dip in 10.8 points per game. So, that was really, I think, the big one overall there that kind of scared me.
Didn't he get hurt both those years?
He did. So he came back, obviously not 100%, but he took 4 or 5 weeks off this year. And I know D-Hop wasn't, back all the way with him this year, but I'm just concerned that I just don't know if he's a guy. I value the end of the season as a fantasy manager. I really do. And if you are going to be just a pigeonholed to my team at the end of the season, I can't trust you. So that's where I am. Any final thoughts on this, Nate?
No, I'm with you. The drop off is concerning. I like that he's closed that gap a little bit in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But I have concerns about his size. I have concerns about Cliff Kingsbury as the head coach there and how that system is run.
Yes, sir.
Their wide receivers, Rondale Moore. There are too many questions for me to have him ranked that high. And again, if he falls off the back half of the season, that kills you if you make it to the playoffs. Because you're riding him no matter what. So
yeah, and I think the most concerning thing for me, because he did get injured, but I mean, injuries are part of it. That's you can't make excuses for everything. But coming back from his injuries, both 2020 and 2021, his rushing numbers just went, and I'm not going to say it's because he's shying away from contact. I don't know, but that wouldn't surprise me if coming back from an injury, you don't want to get hurt again.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson was similar this year after coming back from his injury. So
right.
Too rich for my blood.
Yep. We got Nick Gardner here in the chat. His second half fade reminds me of Russell Wilson a few years ago. Yeah, we've seen Russell Wilson. He's a guy who either starts off hot or, fades towards the end of it. So, guys, let's go ahead and move into our newest segment on the show. I'm super excited about this one. Takes me back to my college days. Ring of Fire, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got something real special planned for you tonight. This is the Ring of Fire, featuring our special guest, Kyle Scott. Now y'all saddle up, strap in. We're gonna have a real good time.
All right.
Kyle.
Here we go, baby. I'd like to introduce audio listeners, video streamers for the evening to our audio editor extraordinaire, Kyle Scott. What's up, Kyle?
Howdy, folks. You're all my favorite deputies around here. I'm happy to be on camera again. It's been a while, so let's get into it.
Absolutely. Ring of Fire, guys, for those of you who don't know, Ring of Fire is a game that we used to play in high school, college a little bit, basically an alcohol drinking game. And you basically had cards lined up around a can, and each card has a different rule. So we're gonna put on the screen right now a deck of cards, and basically the card that we show up, we don't know what card it's going to be. We have a list of roll for each card. And we're going to do 3 rounds here. So you're not going to see all the segments that could come off of this card. Kyle's going to introduce it once we flip this card. Scott, Nate, how are you guys feeling? I kind of just threw this in the wind. Kyle and I have kind of been developing this off screen the last couple of weeks. So you might be thrown into one here.
I'm feeling good. The card style kind of reminds me of a microscopic view of a virus. But other than that,
I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
It looks like a Petri dish.
COVID times, baby.
Yeah.
COVID times. All right, guys, let's go ahead and flip it. Let's see what our first segment's going to be here in Ring of Fire. 4. I believe that is floor, Kyle?
4 is floor. So in the real drinking game, you would point to the floor. But in this, you have to react to the fantasy floor prompt. So our prompt is, who has the better floor for 2022? Tyler Boyd or Gabriel Davis?
Oh, Nate, let's start with you, man. You've been hot on Gabe Davis.
Who has the better floor?
Floor, yes.
Oh, Tyler Boyd, without a doubt. I'm all out on Gabe Davis.
Scott, that's pretty shocking for someone who just had 4 touchdowns in a playoff game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still if we're just talking floor and PPR, I'm going to go with Tyler Boyd as well. Gabe Davis, he could take a leap, and his target share, and
he could be the wide receiver too. He
could
be in that offense.
That's what we thought. That's what we thought about him coming into 2021. And
they won't go and get a better now.
I understand that, but he's had the opportunity to be the wide receiver too, and he has failed at it. So they only use him when they have to. And sure, sometimes he has breakouts. That playoff game was incredible, but it's not long-term sustainable, I don't think.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I remember in the Super Bowl run the Seahawks had against the Patriots, there was a receiver. The name is escaping me, but he had 4 touchdowns in 2 games. Never heard from again. So, I mean, I'm not putting too much weight into what happened in the playoffs. I mean, I'm not ignoring it, but if I'm just strictly talking floor, I would lean Tyler Boyd just because he gets the targets on a regular basis.
Yeah, I guess I'll probably agree with you guys. That's a close one because I think Gabe Davis. I'd probably rather have Gabe Davis on my team in 2022, but I think Tyler Boyd does have the safer floor. I mean, he's had over 800 yards most season in his career, so I like that one.
Yeah, right. Tyler Boyd is worth a 2nd round pick in Dynasty from Geek Mill. What do we think?
Yeah,
I'd probably do it.
Yeah.
If I needed a receiver, I would sell him for that too. I think that's a reasonable price tag on him. Kyle, what do you say? We flip this next card here, bud.
Yeah, let's flip the cards. See what Lady Luck has in store.
All right, we have another 4, which we're not going to do. We're not going to do duplicates here.
All right, 2 is you. So, you hold a fantasy beef session and call out your co-hosts.
Yes.
Okay.
So
this is about to get personal.
This is a segment we've done in the past, fantasy beef. We basically just call each other out for some of our stands or some of our fades that are unnecessary. I guess I can kind of just start here with an old one I'll hash out from 2021.
Oh, I guess I'll just go first. Not that I have anything queued up or anything, but
been holding on to this.
I'm just gonna throw it out there.
I had note cards.
Visca season, Nate. It did not take off, and it wasn't just Nate. It was so many people in this community, in this industry. I was on the hashtag Fade Visca team. Nate, you spent a lot of 8th, 7th, 9th round picks on him. Did not pay out. I think you're ready to cut base at least.
No, I'm holding on to him still.
What are you hoping for, buddy?
Cordarrelle Patterson, baby, in year 9 breakout.
I mean, I'm not just if I've got him on a deep bench, I'm not just dropping him.
Yeah.
He's just kind of stuck. You're just kind of stuck with him to see what happens at this point.
He's still talented, and he still has a role in this offense. And now that Urban Meyer's out of the way, maybe we'll see what he can actually do.
Are you going to draft him in 2022, though, in a redraft?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
Not.
No.
Okay. Well, all right. Then my beef
Well, I might take him over CEH if it's between those two in the 16th round. But
Nate does not like CEH.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't like CEH either, but that was a hot take that you had the other day. I will say that.
I didn't think it was that hot of a take, but all right.
Okay, Scott, Nate, what do you guys got? Do you want to call anyone out? You want to call me out? You want to call Kyle out?
I'm trying to go back through the Rolodex of takes.
Seth, never.
Nate, you do one.
Never Devin Singletary, Seth. Never,
dude. Okay, listen.
Never.
I was off Devin Singletary. It was 2 years before I had my last Devin Singletary share. I was clean of Devin Singletary for 2 years. I mean, you can't, that DFS playoff run that he had, week 14, 15, 16, he won a lot of people championships. He won a lot of people cash. So Devin Singletary, I don't think he'll be the Bill starter here, but I will agree. I did stand for him pretty hard at the end of the season. That's a good one, Nate.
You did.
Hey, Seth, do you remember when you were on FYF and there was a question that came up between two receivers and I was like totally disagreeing with everything you said? Who were the two? It was Ruggs and who? Do you remember?
It was Henry Ruggs and it was Nelson Aguilar, who I was absolutely enamored with all offseason. I think I had like 80% like rostership share going into week 1 of Nelson Aguilar.
Okay, well, let's just forget that Ruggs was part of that, because obviously that wouldn't have been right either. But I'll call that one out. That was a disproportionate amount of Aguilar love.
It was. It was. I think I fell into the like yards per reception stat, and that's not a sticky stat at all. Mm-hmm. And that, you know, I kind of followed that narrative that the big arm of possibly Cam Newton and or Mac Jones really deceived me on that one. Oh, I'm trying to think of one of Scott. Scott, you're pretty researched, so you don't have like a lot of like out there.
Well, I'm not known for like putting it, you know, unleashing a bunch of bold takes on, you know what I mean? Like, for better or for worse, maybe because I'm kind of scared of it, but I don't have a lot of like flag planting moments. I mean, I could give you a few if you need some hints.
If anything, I'll say you were pretty hot on Mike Williams after the first couple weeks.
Wasn't I? I was
you
like,
kept buying it, man. I kept
wide receiver 1.
I came on the show a couple times and offered that we should sell him, and you weren't having it. I also said sell Deebo Samuel, so that was, you know,
my bad on that take.
Yeah, that was a bad take.
Yeah, I fell for Mike Williams. I fell for Jonnu Smith.
Oh, I fell for Johnny.
Oh, that's Nate's worst ever, yo. That was your all-in pick. Johnny
was my all-in pick, man. I loved him in that offense. I really did. I really did.
I think that's maybe your worst take ever, Nate. Honestly, like,
maybe.
I think your Jonnu Smith love.
No, man. My Sam Darnold take is my worst take.
At least Sam Darnold had a game over 30 PPR points. Jonnu Smith, I'm pretty sure, scored 30 PPR points the entire season, man. Like, I'm not even kidding. I want to get a fact check on that right now. Holy cow.
Well, I don't know that you're wrong. It wasn't good for Jonnu.
If anyone has their sleeper app, pull it up. Let me know. Kyle, what do you say we hit one more card here?
Let's do it. Let's round it out. Pull one more.
Can someone blow in my hands? Okay, baby. Here we go.
66.4.
It's going to be another 2.
Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. 10. Okay.
10 is categories.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yes. This is a great one. Okay.
This is a holdover from the original game. I don't think we changed any of the rules for this one.
No. But basically, how this is played, guys, is whoever Kyle picks, will name something in a category. Let's say cars. And then the cars would be the category, and then we have to keep going until someone runs out of car brands to name.
Oh, boy.
So the category can be fantasy football related, it can be wide receivers, it can be beer brands, whatever you guys are thinking. Kyle, just out of curiosity, man, if this was your question, what category would you be picking?
Well, this is a little personal factoid about me. I work at a movie theater, so I would probably do Disney movies or something.
Okay. Fair enough.
Something everyone knows.
Kyle, go ahead and pick someone to start this out and pick the category for us.
Let's do Nate. Let's give it to Nate.
Back in Colorado, Nate. You came all the way from Phoenix for us today, baby. Kick us off.
You know what was annoying today? I always buy a hat the city I visit for a sports team, right? Without fail at the airport, you can always find a nice, like, New Era hat. They always have them at the gift shops.
Yeah.
You know they didn't have at the gift shops at the Phoenix airport? New Era hats. I was so mad. They had all these Diamondback hats. I'm like, I'm not buying a Diamondbacks hat. So we're going to go with types of hats.
Okay.
Types of hats?
Not brands, but just types.
Types.
Okay. I like that.
I'm going to... Do I start?
You start, yeah.
Okay, bowler.
I'm going to say trucker.
Sombrero.
Fedora.
Skull cap.
Visor.
Knit cap.
Beanie.
God, I had one.
Oh.
Beret.
Cowboy hat.
Jeez. Snapback. Oh, does that count as one? That was kind of.
What did you say?
Snapback.
A snapback?
Snapback
No.
is a type of hat.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, okay, fine. I'll allow it.
He's
All
wearing
right.
a snapback right now.
Yeah, it's also kind of a trucker hat though. So
Did anybody say top hat?
No.
No.
All right, top hat.
Golf hat.
Motorcycle helmet. Just
Helmets do not
no.
count as
Okay,
hats.
I'll take the L on that one. I'll take the L on that one.
Hard hat.
Oh,
there
there
you
we
go.
go.
Nice.
Jimmy hat.
Nice. We got Craig in the chat tonight. What's up, Craig? We also got Geek Mill. Oh man, need to ask Kyle, since you work in a movie theater, do you have a favorite football movie? Ooh, that's a good one, Kyle.
Favorite football movie? Well, I really like the original Longest Yard.
That's a Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, Burt Reynolds, and the guard is Ray Nitschke from the 1960s Packers. That's a good one. I like Invincible with Mark Wahlberg about the bartender. That's a good one. It's the same movie as American Underdog about Kurt Warner.
Yeah, the new one with Kurt. Yeah, that is true. I have heard that actually. Mark Wahlberg's a beast. So that's one of his best performances. I'm going to honestly say that right now.
Yeah, it's a great movie, great soundtrack. Yeah, one of those two.
Awesome.
I don't watch a lot of football movies. I think hockey has the best sports movies.
Okay.
Slapshot.
Miracle, Mystery Alaska. Those two are good enough.
The Goon. Letterkenny.
Dude, did you see there's a spinoff coming out?
I did. Shoresy, baby.
Shoresy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm excited.
Oh, yeah. We'll be locked and loaded. Kyle,
Mighty
thank you.
Ducks.
Thank you,
right.
my friend, for your time today here on
Thank
Ring
you,
of
Kyle.
Fire. We're going to continue to call on you throughout the off season, throughout the in season as well. This was a lot of fun, guys. How was it for your first trip into the ring?
I enjoyed it.
It was fun, especially since I didn't know what the cards meant.
Yeah.
We all got to learn together.
You're gonna
I can see. I never played that game, that particular drinking game, but it seems like a really fun game.
It was. It's a blast. It's a blast. I'm glad we were able to remake it here a little bit on the IBT. Guys, let's go ahead and move forward in the show, though. It must go on, as they say. And let's kick it off with some headline hijinks. All right, headline hijinks, our way of breaking down some takes, the recent NFL news, whatever it may be. Today, I want to talk about recent NFL, recent fantasy football strategies heading into 2022 and what our personal strategies are going to be initially here in the early offseason. We got best balls coming out. We've been doing a lot of those over on Underdog. A lot of early redrafts also happen in the industry as well. So I want to throw it out there to you guys. What are your philosophies heading into this year? Because I feel like 2021 taught us a lot.
Well, I'll start. And this isn't necessarily like a strategy. This is more, well, I guess it is. It's something that I've learned to avoid or to be wary of. So my headline is "Fool me twice, shame on me." Originally, I had the whole entire George Bush quote as my headline. It was way too long. So we'll just go "Fool me twice, shame on me." And it's regarding rookie quarterbacks, specifically in redraft. And that you really need to be careful to not buy into the hype of the shiny new rookie quarterback and put yourself in a position where you're relying too heavily on one of those players in your quarterback position. I've been guilty of it pretty much every season of fantasy football I've played. But it just I tried to throw it together before the show. I was just, since 2002, I was going through all the first round rookie quarterbacks and kind of how it played out fantasy wise. First of all, going through all the rookie first round quarterbacks since 2002 makes me want to throw up in my mouth a little.
Yeah,
it was
a lot of Christian
brutal.
Ponder, Eli.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, you obviously had 2004 with Eli Manning, Roethlisberger, Rivers. You have some pretty big hits, but man, there's so many not hits. So I didn't get to the end of it, but point is, the odds of a rookie quarterback like being a QB1, a top 12 QB in his rookie year is very slim. This particular season, I'm not a rookie guy, but I rely on other people, and it seems it's a below average quarterback class. Last season was a very above average class, and there was virtually no one that
did anything
fantasy-wise. People point to Mac Jones, and yeah, he had a good rookie season as an NFL quarterback, but he had like 11 points a game in fantasy. That's not going to get it done. So just
14.
What's that?
It was 14.
Oh, was it?
Nate knows it off the top of his head.
4 point per touchdown.
No, I'm not in the Fantasy Pros rankings right now.
You're tattooed to like your arm right now.
That being said, I have no issue. Like last year, I took Trey Lance super late, just threw him at the end of my bench. Obviously, it didn't play out. I have no issue doing something like that, but just try and avoid that urge to bank on a rookie being a league winner, because it just does not happen very often.
Yeah, we've seen it in the last 10 years with players like Cam Newton, RG3, Andrew Luck.
There's a few.
That's really the majority of it. Even I did some trend research coming into last year, Scott, and I remember seeing that since 2012, most of the 101, like if they were selected 101 in the NFL draft, they came in, and more times than not, they were a QB1 for fantasy. But that streak definitely broke in 2021 with Trevor Lawrence, and in a bad way too. So it doesn't look like a quarterback's probably going to go with the first overall pick with Jackson, unless Jacksonville trades it. So probably don't have to worry about that. But Scott, I think that's a really good point, man. I actually won a league with Trevor Lawrence as my QB2 in a super flex league. But I didn't start Trevor Lawrence in the playoffs. I was starting like Devin Singletary. I was starting Devin Singletary in my super flex. So F you, Nate. Yeah, I love it, Scott. I think that's a great philosophy, man. Nate, what do you got for us, brother?
I agree, Scott. You are 100% correct. There's a very rare chance where a rookie in the early rounds is going to pay off for you in fantasy. I mean, we've seen a few of them, but it doesn't. Jamar Chase, Najee Harris, blah, 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 other years. My biggest thing really is, so my headlines go with the flow. Seth, I love music. It's my favorite Queens of the Stone Age song, and I think it's a really great fantasy strategy. And this is kind of what I'm trying to be more of. Last season, I tested out some strategies. Like I went 0 RB in a couple drafts, and I did this and that, and heavy wide receiver. I'm going to pay more attention to the flow of my draft this year and watch how players are coming off the board, because maybe I don't need to get a quarterback in the first and third round. Maybe I can get a quarterback in the second, and I can get a quarterback back in like the 10th or 11th round where I'm snagging a Derek Carr or a Kirk Cousins.
Superflex.
In Superflex, who were QB1s last season, but are still being faded. Derek Carr I'm really high on. I'm trying to grab guys like that are good late round value, but I'm not skipping on running back this year. I just did a startup where I took Jonathan Taylor and Austin Eckler with my first 2 picks. I didn't take a quarterback until the 7th round. I ended up with Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Ryan Tannehill. And I'm okay with that because I have 2 running backs who can put up quarterback points most weeks when they're healthy. So
okay,
it's like go with the flow. Pay attention. Yeah. Don't get pigeonholed.
Yeah, we call it here at In Between Me. We call it keeping it in between, because that's really what you have to do. But between picks, like I've had picks made up in my mind. Like last year in the Scott Fish Bowl, 5th round coming back, I needed a QB2. I was fully expecting to take Trey Lance there, and he got sniped 1 pick before me. I ended up with David Montgomery, ended up being a blessing. So keep it in between, guys. We say it a lot here, but Nate, I think that's a sound strategy, man. Always something good to keep in mind there, man.
Brad, my draft strategy is also Queens of the Stone Age song, No One Knows. The same album, great song.
There you go. Guys, so my strategy coming in here to 2022, and it's different. I think it's really different than in past years, but I'm going to take a Journey song. I'm going to play on that. Don't stop receiving, baby. Don't stop receiving. And I talked a little bit about this on social media earlier today, but I really think the game is changing now. We saw over 22 starting running backs go down with some type of injury here. I think it's honestly over 26 as well. But just a handful of starting running backs going down. not very many healthy running backs. Right now, the list of running backs that played all 17 games had 200-plus carries. Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris, Ezekiel Elliott, and Sony Michel. So I just don't know if I'm towards the end of the first round, if I'm sitting on that turn, I don't think I'm going to take a Joe Mixon. I don't think I'm going to take maybe a Najee, or, if any of those guys fall a Zeke. I don't know. I think I'm more just into the receivers right now. The league is going more pass heavy than ever. We're seeing more wide receivers like Deebo Samuel, Amon-Ra St. Brown used in multiple ways. In redraft, I just think right now I'm more comfortable than ever kind of imploring not a true zero RB strategy, but waiting till that third, fourth round, waiting for a Montgomery, a Saquon Barkley to come back to me, maybe even like a playoff Lenny, depending where he lands. But I just think at the end of the day, I want these pass catchers. I want these wide receivers. I also want a stud tight end. I feel comfortable paying up for Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, those type of guys, not quarterbacks and running backs so much now.
I'm with you, especially with the tight. If you can get an Andrews or a Kelce, or I think Waller's going to be back, but you should be able to get him in later rounds. But yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I'm moving more towards that. Like, over the course of playing fantasy football, first of all, I started out in a lot of standard leagues, so running backs are a little bit more valuable there when you don't have the points per reception. But very gradually, I have been moving more towards being comfortable, first comfortable, and then actually aspiring to get more receivers earlier. I used to sweat if like I took a receiver in the first round, or if I left the first 4 rounds with only one running back. I would be like, oh no, my running backs.
Yeah.
But and it's mostly from like, reading up and paying attention to the people in this industry who have been doing this and are very, very, very smart. And, time and time again, I'll be any given week, I get torched my team because of the receivers on the other team, not the running backs. So I totally agree.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like Nick Gardner, one of our in-between family members, he's saying here off Facebook, that's a great idea, Seth. If you could start out a draft with Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel at the corner, that's a great start. And I agree. And I even think of Justin Jefferson, Deebo, Jamar Chase, Deebo. Let's face it, guys. Like, there are a lot of teams that were carried by Deebo Samuel and Jamar Chase, getting them in the 7th, 8th, 9th round this season. So I just think I want to go after these surefire things. Running backs are going to get hurt. I know that. And I just kind of want to, feed off the waiver wire. I mean, if you were able to pick up like a Cordell Patterson, Rashad Penny, Sony Michel at the end of the season, there's always guys at the end of the season. I've lost leagues to Elijah McGuire, CJ Anderson with the Rams, like just awful running backs. So it's a thing. And I think the game's changing, guys. And I think we need, we would be suppressed not to say it here.
See, okay, so just out of curiosity, the startup that I referenced, it's kind of drafting like redraft right now, sort of. This is my start. Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Derek Carr in the 5th round. Then I got DeAndre Hopkins in the 6th, A.J. Dillon in the 7th, Baker Mayfield in the 8th. Then I added James Conner, Rashad Penny, Melvin Gordon, and Hunter Henry on this team. Just
like a bunch of solid backs later. Like, we don't know the fate of Melvin Gordon, James Conner, Lenny right now. They're definitely going to trade around. But, if you're playing in some of these best ball leagues, these early redrafts, I'm taking
these are great guys to get. Yeah, absolutely, because they're going to land somewhere. They're going to have value.
Yes.
Maybe they don't, but if this kind of like later values, like you're not taking as big of a hit when you were having to take them in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd round.
Agreed.
Yeah, and another reason to keep tuning in during the offseason is, what we're saying right now is like, oh yeah, surefire things like Cooper Kupp and Deebo Samuel. 1 year ago today, we were not saying surefire things like Cooper Kupp and Deebo Samuel.
No.
So there's always an endless quest to find who's going to be the next that. I mean, it's a little bit surfacey. I mean, there won't be. I mean, according to some people, every team should just have somebody they turn into Deebo Samuel. But, that's one thing I will be working on this offseason is trying to predict, in some sort of actionable way, who could have that breakout next year.
Scott's going to find them. Scott's
you
going
could
to
get
find
for a
them,
screaming deal. Because I mean, I'll say I won 1 championship this year, and my wide receiver 1 was Cup. My wide receiver 2 was Deebo Samuel.
Yep.
I mean, it just if you can up your chances of getting that guy, it can be quite the edge.
Hey guys, so I just had to call something to your attention, to HR. This is our new analyst down here. I think I
Never
don't
heard of
think
him. I don't know who that is.
I think we're gonna have to let him go, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, those for tuning into the audio tomorrow. 0RB for life.
But
Dan
isn't
Turner on YouTube.
But if you use the hashtag, doesn't that there's no consequences for you, right? Like there's no
Is that
repercussions because you're using a hashtag.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm 42. I don't know.
Yeah. Hashtags, you can say anything acceptable in hashtag.
I don't know who that is, though. I'm not sure who that is. Never heard of him.
Yeah. Yeah. Guys, I love it. I love all the fantasy football talk. I'm super excited to get into more with you throughout the season. Let's go ahead and round out the show, though, with a lesser football talk segment. And let's get into some weekly advice. Today, we're going to talk about some goals.
Weekly advice.
All right, weekly advice. Once again, those new to the channel, please, the simplest way you can support the show, everything we're doing over here at IBT Media, hit that subscribe button on the YT. We greatly appreciate it. Here at Weekly Advice, what we like to do is we like to blend some feel-good lifestyle advice in with the end of each of our podcast episodes. Guys, today I want to talk about goals because we all have goals, whether it be in the content creation space, whether it be in our regular work life, our family life, our friend life, whatever it is. We all have goals, fantasy football goals as well. We want to win those chips. So I just want to talk about in general the importance of setting goals and how we can use it to our advantage and not disadvantage, because sometimes it can go the other way. And Nate, I feel like you and I have had this conversation off camera quite a few times.
Yeah, we definitely have. I mean, goals are a guide. They kind of set the map for your path. But don't be so fixated on those things that you're not willing to take a detour, because life isn't just straight lines everywhere. I mean, if you haven't experienced that yet in your life, trust me, you're going to. I'm sure anybody listening to this has. So don't be so fixated on, have goals, but don't be so fixated on them that you can't pivot. Because if I had stayed so fixated on being a chef when I was 20 on, I wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
And I'd be miserable. Things change for a reason, but it's good to have goals.
Mm.
Yeah, I would say, along the same lines, what I term as diversify your goals. And what I mean by that is, sure, set some lofty goals for yourself, motivate yourself. That's important. But it's also important to have some smaller goals. If anything, for me, in my journey, just having some smaller goals, even if it's just the satisfaction of accomplishing a goal, even if it doesn't really do anything for your progress, just that mental, that feeling good mentally about accomplishing something is important. So I try and set, I have certain goals that are a little bit more vague, and long term. And then I have other goals that are like, this is something I want to do this week, or this is something I want to do today. I mean, it's a glorified to-do list, really. But I mean, I'm the type where I used to do my goals and to-do lists on sticky notes.
Yeah.
I would finish something that I forgot to write on a sticky note, and I'll write that on a sticky note just so I can cross it out after I'm done. So, I mean, I think it's just important for confidence. There's no one tiny goal you accomplish that's going to all of a sudden just fix all the problems of your life. But stack one on top of each other, just, it helps you treat yourself well, helps you feel better about yourself. At least it has for me. So have different levels of goals.
I love that.
That's a good way to put it.
I love that. I know last year I wrote a column. It was start, sit, and small victories. And it was about celebrating those small victories. And I Scott, you're hitting right on that, man. And Nate, I think you kind of almost hit it on the entire theme of In Between Media here. We all have somewhere we want to go in our journeys. We're all at A, and we all want to get to B somehow. whatever B may be. It looks differently for everybody. But, when you're on that path, if you're too focused strictly on your goal and not enjoying the process, not enjoying the overall journey, then you've missed something. So remember to enjoy that journey, enjoy that in between there, guys. I couldn't agree more with you guys. I appreciate that insight from you. What are some goals for 2022, the new season that you guys have, either personally, fantasy football related? What are you guys thinking?
I would like to, I'm already in the process, but I want to revise and improve IBT's preseason rankings.
Yes.
I would like to streamline, and just with what I've learned this year, I would like to set something up that's very user-friendly. That's a little bit in the weeds. I would like to, by the time the season starts, I want to do weekly rankings, whether it's associated with anything or just my own thing. Mm-hmm. I want to learn the process, and I want to do that. That's one thing. That's one of my goals for I was going to try this past season, but I just didn't have enough time and I didn't want to rush it. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, all right, I'm not doing it. I'll do it next year. So that's something I want to learn how to do for sure.
Awesome. Nate, what are you thinking, man?
Well, I've got a lot of goals. One of them is to start being out of bed before 7:30 every morning, but that's not going to happen.
That's a lofty one, my friend, when you have a kid.
Well, the thing is that he just comes and lays in bed with us, and then we just lay there. So
yeah.
I think my biggest goal is just to keep doing what we're doing, man. Like I'm stoked to be a part of this industry. I want to keep growing with In Between, grow our business. I'm really enjoying all the things I'm doing, and I just want to keep having fun. Like ultimately, my goal is to have fun, because if you're having fun, you've never worked a day in your life, and this is what I do mostly full time. So I just want to keep enjoying it. I want to make sure it stays fun.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. We will round it out. I'll give you guys my goals, but we just got a question from Dan Turner here on YouTube. What's Melvin Gordon's value if he stays or leaves in Denver? I think Melvin Gordon, if he stays in Denver, he's an RB2, low-end RB2. He's been an RB2 in back-to-back years, and I think that kind of, is what his value is going to be if he stays there. If he leaves, I think there's a lot of variables depending on the backfield. There's a lot of backfields up for grab right now.
I think he'd probably be really great in Philadelphia because that Miles Sanders guy is a bum.
Shots fired early. Episode 401. Nate is firing shots.
I'm in a mood, man. I'm in a mood.
Been on an airplane all day with a 4-year-old.
I couldn't find my hat, and I'm still really mad.
Well, now we know how to prank Nate. We just draft a team for him with Miles Sanders and CEH as his RB1 and RB2.
Oh, I would quit, and I would
draft a team for Seth with Cole Kmet. Perfect.
I'd fly all the way to Seattle. And
Scott, any thoughts on Melv John here for our guy Dan?
I pretty much agree. I think if he stays in Denver, I think it will look similar to last year. I think Javonte probably. I mean, they were like, if you look at their finishes in lots of different categories, it was literally a 50-50 split. It was crazy how close it was to 50-50.
You couldn't have projected it any better, honestly.
So I think Javonte would start to tip. It would start to tip towards him, but I still think Melvin would get plenty of work, and I think he'd be an RB2. If he goes somewhere else, for me, it would really depend on where that is. If it's somewhere where he's going to be the guy, he could sneakily have a big season.
Melvin Gordon's had
Philly.
He's been good almost his entire career,
he's
fantasy.
He's been slept on quite a bit. So I personally, as a fantasy football fan, the best thing for both him and Javonte Williams, I hope he goes somewhere else.
Yeah,
so we can root for both of them on different teams.
But don't forget, we don't know what this offense is going to look like next year. And Nathaniel Hackett, who has experience with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, managing those two,
and Jamal Williams, show some respect.
And Jamal Williams, could it look differently with Hackett now in Denver?
It's a good
if
point.
They were to retain Gordon.
It's a good point.
Yeah, and who's going to be their quarterback?
Yeah.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater.
Hopefully it's a captain check down. That's what they need.
It's not going to be Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Probably not. Marcus Mariota, I wouldn't mind seeing them go after him.
I think you could do worse, honestly. I want Marcus Mariota in Pittsburgh right now compared to what we got.
What about Trubisky in the Mile High?
Wouldn't hate that. Really wouldn't hate it.
I think you could do worse. I think you could do worse.
100%.
Guys, we'll round out the episode with my with my personal fantasy football goals, content creator goals for 2022. First thing, and I hope we can help our listeners, our viewers with it as well, is I've been in a home league realistically over the last 12 years or 12, 14 years, but it's been the same variation, a 12-team PPR redraft league, super competitive for the last 6 or 7. I've been in the playoff every year but one of those, and I've just had crazy stuff happen to me in the finals. I've choked every year, basically, is what you can say. I'm sure I have some league mates listening tonight, and they can attest to it. But my goal is to break my curse this year. I thought I was going to do it last year, had Jamar Chase lined up for a huge week 17, fell short of the finals once again. But I want to break that curse. I want to help other people break their home league curse as well. I hope we continue doing what we're doing here in Between Media. I know it's lofty, but I want to hit 500 subscribers on our YouTube channel by the end of the year. Maybe throw out 1,000. I don't know. That's pretty lofty. But
if we hit 1,000, nope.
What are you gonna say? What are you gonna say, Nate?
Yeah, wait. That was a hard stop.
Yeah,
it was.
Come on.
I was thinking what Jen was gonna say, but Nate didn't want to promise something. Jen,
I just remembered I'm married, so I have to run it by her before I say anything stupid on air.
All right.
Dangle carrots like that. Come on.
Well, I'll throw it out on our next episode.
Yeah, Nate's going to get approval from the wife, see what he can throw out there. But we're aiming, guys. You know, we want to be here with you all season long. We want to continue to do the thing, fantasy football, redraft, dynasty, keeper. We're kind of a podcast of all sorts with that stuff. We continue to have fun, man. Like having Kyle on today for Ring of Fire was an absolute blast. It's a blast having everyone, all the IBT fam in the chat as well. So I'm just looking forward to that, guys.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like I obviously I want to help as many people as possible. That's my main goal with anything I do here, really. So I want to provide useful info. And I mean, so if you're listening, you don't know us, or if you're new, like hit us up. If you're on Twitter, hit us up. Hit up my DMs anytime you want with fantasy football questions. I love talking fantasy football. I will never be bothered. It won't be like, oh my gosh, another one. Never. I love it. I love all of it. So
yeah. Same with life and lifestyle too. If you guys need some Netflix movie recommendations, album recommendations, whatever it is, hit those DMs. You see Nate's handle, you see mine, you see Scott's. Like that's what we love to do here. You know, if you're going through something personal, you just need someone to talk to. I think we're great at that as well. You know, I think we're a good shoulder when people need it as well, guys.
Yeah, if you need us to recommend a type of hat, we can do that.
Trucker, baby. I'm all about it.
That was just a random one. It was awesome.
Guys, this has been an absolute blast tonight. I want to thank everyone who's been tuning in on YouTube. It's been an absolute blast. Again, the easiest way to support us at In Between Media, everything we're doing, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you guys are getting your podcasts and your video content. If you can hit that subscribe button, follow us on Twitter as well. Nate's at Nate Polvote. Scott is at Munder Difflin. FF. I'm between_Seth FF. The show, the site, everything we have going on In Between Media is at IBT_media on the Twitter bird. Guys, this has been an absolute blast. We're going to be back here. We're every other week during the off season. So we're going to be back here in 2 weeks. And Nate, I think we have a special guest in 2 weeks.
We do. And I'm very excited to announce that in our first off-season series episode of the year, we will have Mr. Pat Fitzmaurice from Fantasy Pros. Cannot wait. Yes, very excited.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we will be back here in 2 weeks. Same place, same bad channel, baby. The In Between Fantasy Football Podcast. For Nate and Scott, I'm Seth Woolcock. Take care, guys, and keep it in between until next time. Your destination for both some feel-good lifestyle advice and some fantasy football advice.